Next up, we have our from the ID table to the kitchen table segment that I will turn it over to Cindy for.
Thanks, April. Can you all hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. So Mitch is going to talk a little bit more about how to find and identify morels when we get to the ID table proper. I'm going to talk about the kitchen table aspect of everybody's favorite spring mushroom, the morel. So first up, I'm not going to pretend to tell you where to find them, but I will say that last year, from January to June of 2024, club members posted almost 400 observations of them in the DC metro area, as you can see on this map here. And people are notoriously hesitant to share their find sites. So they're out there, folks. Next slide, please. Next slide. I don't know who's got the clicker. Thank you. All right. So for those of you like me who don't often have much luck finding morels, if you only find one or two, or if it's your first time finding morels, with any new species you find, I highly recommend doing the simplest possible preparation to get to know the mushroom, get to know how it responds to heat, and also get to know how your body responds to it. Because even something as wildly accepted as a good edible as morels, people have individual allergies to things. You know, people have individual allergies to strawberries. So always get to know your new species in a little bite. Don't eat 2 pounds of it the first time you find it, even if you find 2 pounds. So I recommend just with any new species you find, just do a very simple saute in olive oil or butter, a little sprinkle of salt, and just eat it right out of the pan. Or if you have slightly more patience, you can put it on toast. And it's a good way to get to know the flavor, the behavior under cooking of a mushroom, and also make sure that you're not going to be sick the next day. All right, next slide. Yeah. So if you're feeling a little more comfortable and a little more ambitious, one of the classic morel dishes is a risotto. Um, and I'm just going to very quickly walk you through the preparation steps. There are recipes out there all over the internet and in most Italian cookbooks. If you're starting with dried morels, you want to pre-soak them in hot water and then collect that liquid because you'll use it later in the cooking process. Next, please. All right, so then now we get into the active hanging around the stove part of the equation. You can go ahead and saute some onion and garlic or some shallots, whatever you have, maybe a little saffron. Saute those, add your pre-soaked or fresh morels, and this is where you want to make sure you cook them very thoroughly so that they're not raw in the final dish. Once your morels are most of the way cooked, then you stir in your rice, stir it around so it's well coated with your cooking liquid. And then I think you can barely see in this photo on the right, I've poured in that reserved mushroom liquid to start cooking the rice. All right, next slide, please. And as you continue to pour your liquid in, and then when you run out of your mushroom soaking liquid, you can switch to broth. Um, your rice grains are going to swell up and get plumper and plumper and plumper, and the slow cooking will release their starches into the liquid. So you want to end up with this fantastic, creamy, soupy, tender, soft result. All right, next slide, please. I just want to say one little word of caution. There have been some reports of gastrointestinal or neurological symptoms associated with the consumption of particularly raw or just barely blanched and undercooked morels. So always make sure you cook them thoroughly. And again, if this is a new mushroom to you, fantastic, welcome, get to know it, but test your personal tolerance first. All right, that's all for me for this month. If you're interested in culinary activities in general, you can reach out to me at culinary@mawdc.org, and I'll get you connected to our Google group, and we'll hope to see you out there.
I wanted to chime in just a little bit on that. When you were pouring that water in, that's actually an excellent time to try and avoid some of the grit that may have been left on your mushroom. And so if you're pouring it in, don't leave that little bottom and you might get rid of some of that sand if there is a little.
Yeah, okay. Actually, sorry, I forgot to mention that. If you go back 2 slides, you'll see I actually filter it through a cheesecloth first. But I skipped over that. Sorry. Thank you, Mitch.
Cool.
Good catch. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing like a side of sand for mushrooms.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, that there was a picture of that. I just forgot to
I
mention
saw it. Yes, I did note that.
yes. Yes.
Thank you, Cindy. Yeah, I think that it was some I'm sorry, some morel sushi that had been one of the
Yeah.
culprits, like where it
There was
had
a
not
recent
been
yeah, there
cooked.
was a recent outbreak at a sushi restaurant and they had their morels by pouring a hot marinade over them, and that just totally didn't do it. And quite a number of people got sick. And there have been a couple of cases like that. And it's always, when they can figure it out, it always seems to be related to undercooked or raw morels.
Which doesn't
So
even taste good.
yeah, so heat is your friend. That's a general rule of thumb with most wild mushrooms and even store-bought mushrooms. They're not so great raw. And
Yeah,
sometimes not so great for you either. All right. That's all from me.
all right, thank you.